Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to ATP Live Monday. Happy New Year to you all. Um, Thank you so much for joining me. This is our first live stream for 2026, and so it's so good to be back. We've been away for since December, and I hope you all had a wonderful time. Okay, so welcome to ATP Live Monday. I am Bimisela Boyde. I'm a pediatrician, and it's my pleasure to be here today. Whichever platform you're joining us from, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, I want to welcome you specially. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to share the video, as always, to make sure that everybody else can see us and they can hear us. All right, so I'm just going to also do the same. So help me to share the video. Let me just do the same as well, just to make sure people can see and they can hear. And if you have any questions, you know that you can post your questions while we're doing the sharing, and then we will answer them. So the first thing to do is to just share the video. So I'm just going to do the same. Looking for my video. Okay, I found it. All right. Okay. All right. Let's just do that quickly. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're doing fine. The year is already running. We're already 12 days into 2026. Amazing, isn't it? So, 2025 was great, but I believe that 2026 will be greater. So, let's just share the video and then we can start. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Just say something. Let me know you're there for those who are watching. Um, okay, so let's pin into our groups. Okay, and then let me switch. Welcome everyone. For this one just joining, I'm just trying to share the video so that everybody can see us and they can hear us. Just give me a couple of minutes and then we'll be done. Okay, I think I'm done with the sharing. Then I just need to do the pinning and then we can start. Okay, and then let's see. Okay, I think I'm done with all my sharing and all my pinning. Okay. All right, so good evening, everyone, once again, and welcome to ATP Live Monday. ATP Live Monday is a program brought to you by Atp Pediatricians Foundation. Atp Pediatricians Foundation is a charity committed to your health, the health of your children, and we do that online and offline through our various programs. So ATP Life is just one of the programs. Thank you, Olaiwola Hiruayo. I like that your name, your good news. So, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome. Happy New Year to you as well. I know you've all missed us. We also missed you as well, but definitely we need that break so that we can all refresh and recover to serve you better. So it's good to have you here. Hope Major, compliment of the season. Welcome back. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, those of you who are joining us. Thank you so much for those of you joining on Facebook, on Instagram. Please share the videos and let's invite all our friends to join us. So, ATP Live is one of our platform for addressing any health issues that you may have about the health of your children in a live session. But beyond the live session, you can always go to our Facebook group and you can post your questions there from Mondays to Saturdays. And we've already opened the group today, so you can feel free to go and post your questions and we will try and answer them as soon as we can. But in this live session, you have just 1 hour with me to get your answer very fast, quickly on a live program. And it's also a program for doing a little bit of some teachings so that people will know. We notice that a lot of people are busy these days, so people don't always have the time for our teaching. So we're going to be doing our teaching in like real format, something short, something like less than 5 minutes, so that people's attention can get, and people can get the right message very quickly. I noticed that there are lots of people do send me a lot of posts. People do send me things that, can you talk about this, can you address this? So I got all your messages and we'll try and start addressing some of these issues now in 2026. So thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to a brand new year, and we are here to serve you. This is our 11th year on ATP, so we have been here long enough and we're here to serve you. And our goal is to say that no child should die from things that we can prevent, from things that we can treat. And that is what we do. Our focus is to promote good health for our children. And of course, when they're sick, we want to make sure that we know what to do and that we address them quickly. So thank you so much for joining us. So as you're aware, we have at least 3, we have 4 Facebook groups. The main group, Ask the Pediatrician, is for you to ask your children health issues, but we also have ATP Family for the mothers and the fathers to ask their home questions. It's not as big, but we still try our best. And then we have ATP Still a Mom, and we also have ATP first time mothers group, because I always have some passion for first time mothers because they are the one that really have multiple questions to ask the pediatricians, and we try to address the questions as well. So that is what we do on ATP. And beyond what we do online, we also do medical outreaches. And this year we'll be doing more outreaches, especially in those communities where we know they have very limited access to pediatricians. So we'll be there to support. We also go to schools. We'll be doing lots of empowerment of our children. And I was so happy during one of my my alma mater, we had a meeting and somebody told me, oh, I actually saw one of my children in my school came back with a leaflet and I saw Ask the Pediatrician on it. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So, and that shows how much that information is going into our community. We want our children to know what to do in emergencies. This era where when there's emergency, people start bringing out their phones and all they want to do is to take pictures or pour water on people. We want it to end, and we're starting with the young generation to let them know when there's a medical emergency, this is what you do. And I'm happy that information is being passed on. Now we're looking for people that can support us. So actually, we have a lot of vision and things to do, but of course, it's just a lot of funding. So, and this is a completely a charity, so we need a lot of funding from donors and volunteers like yourself. So thank you so much, and thank you for joining me. So if you have any questions about the health of your children, feel free to ask your questions. I've got 1 hour So the way we're going to be doing this year is I'm going to be doing a teaching, and at the same time I'll be answering questions. So we're going to kind of match the two together. So feel free to ask your questions, and at the same time I will be doing a little bit of teaching on the side. And today I think I'm going to address a major issue we're dealing with now is this issue of immunization, and lots of people posting lots of videos on social media, on TikTok, and trying to discourage people from going for immunization. And a lot of people sent me posts, not a lot of people, a few people send me some videos of those posts on social media and say, oh, you need to come out and you need to address this as well. And because now we're in the era of social media, everybody has a platform. Anybody can wake up in their house and anybody can put anything online. And I find it very interesting that the wrong information actually tends to trend. The wrong information actually tends to go viral very quickly. And I don't know whether it's because of the shock value, things that people, wow, what is that? So there are lots of misinformation online. So one of the things I think for us as parents, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really, this is for us, especially from Max Pediatrician, it's not about being popular, it's not about going viral. We're talking about life here, we're talking about our children living and not dying. So we're not interested in it's not like some people are, content creator. For us, we have been doing this for 10 years. Like I said, this is not about content creating, this is about saving lives, this is about reducing death. One of the worst things that can happen to anyone is to suffer the loss of their children. Most parents really, really struggle with it. So please, when it comes to the health of children, we need to be very responsible and know that everything is not about content. There are some people on social media purely for content. They are content creators, they are there to make money, they thrive on putting things that are controversial, they thrive on the likes, on the shares. So you're going to get all sorts of information online, because anybody can put anything on social media, anything can put anything on Facebook, on TikTok, anybody can put anything. And even some people will say they are doctors, they are nurses, and they also say everything they want to say. So the fact that somebody say I'm a doctor and I'm putting this out does not mean it's correct, or the person say I'm a nurse, I'm putting this out does not mean it is correct. Okay, so there are people who have their own agenda. So I would say, as a parent, one of the things I really want you to do this year is that any information you get online from anybody, including myself, please fact check it. You can always fact check information. Even our government now, they're beginning to put that information out, and I think there are even laws coming out about people putting wrong information, because misinformation can kill. And when it comes to children health, it can be very dangerous. And I would say it is your responsibility, the information you believe, the information you take in. So we should not be naive as parents. We should be responsible, and we should fact check information. Don't just run. Oh, somebody said this. You're running with it. Don't. Think first and then go through that information and fact check it. Okay, there are places where you can always fact check information. There are authorities. There are authority in terms of info. Please, if you have any question, feel free to drop your question. I'll be answering them as I'm doing my teaching as well. Lorita Mall, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. So as I'm doing my teaching, I'll be answering questions. So feel free to so don't think, oh, Dr. Gbemi has only come to talk today. Feel free to put your questions and I will answer them as well. So please feel free to be dropping your questions. I've not seen any questions, so that's why I'm going to just continue with my brief talk and all that. And I just want to set a precedence for this year. And because there are lots of information online these days, I mean, I can't even begin to count them all. There was even one of our very popular doctor, educator, which everybody knows, put up a video recently last year, and I was shocked. And we have to quickly go to him and say, you need to put that content down now, as a pediatrician. Because like I said, for some of us as pediatricians, we are not content creators. We are here to save lives. So that's the only reason somebody like me comes online. Otherwise, I don't have that time. So, but we come online because we want to save life, because information, health education is one of the child survival strategies. Unfortunately, content creators are really, really dragging that with us now, and they're actually making health education or health misinformation an issue for us. And I don't even know how many people were going to lose their lives because of misinformation. So it's very important. So which is why I want parents to have this tool. Must fast check any information you get on social media before you run with it. There are authorities. Every doctor, we have, they're always court of appeal for everything. When it comes to an issue, when it comes to health issue, there's where we all go to. We have what we call peer review. We have where we all like, okay, what is our consensus on this? So when it comes to health issue, number one, the World Health Organization, because I don't want some people that I'm UK, I'm US, I'm this. The World Health Organization is for everybody. So if you want to fact check any information, and the WHO has a lovely website, and they have what we call fact sheets on almost any topic. So you can actually go to World Health Organization website and put in that particular topic. Maybe you want to fact check information on should I add milk to my baby's pap or not, or should I do this or not do that. You can go to the WHO website and you can put that information there. I'm telling you, you'll be surprised you will get that information there. That is an organization you can trust, that you can bank with, because this is not one individual that writes things on the World Health Organization website. That is and information from there are based on what we call evidence. So for every statement we come out and say this is what you should do as a parent, you should breastfeed for 6 months, you should do that, it takes time for us to come up with those information. It is just one single sentence for us as Neil, thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year to you as well. So feel free to ask your questions as you are joining. You may just see it as we recommend that you should do exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. But there are loads of papers, researches that people have done, what we call systematic review, what we call meta-analysis, all those kind of things that are done based on what we call double trials and stuff, randomized control trials and all that, before people come out to say this is what is recommended. So nobody should just come out and say something. Like the video I watched, people just keep sending me that video, and I was really getting annoyed about it. Really, now the one doctor has come to say, "Yo, don't put milk in your baby's mouth." I'm like, what? And I used to look at that. This person who is saying this didn't even say their name. They didn't say this is what they just say. I work in a teaching hospital. That's not how doctors make recommendations. They didn't tell you this is that. They didn't give you what is the evidence. Where is the research? Where was it published? And everybody keep asking me that question, and I have to put up and say, like, please, nobody should ask that question again, because I was tired of answering it. Don't just say whatever anybody says, including myself. Go and fact check it. Okay, and for every issue, there are also bodies. So we pediatricians, we have our association in Nigeria. We have Pediatric Association of Nigeria, the American Half American Academy of Pediatrics. We have the RCPCH, that is Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health for the UK. These are the Association of Pediatricians, and we also all have websites. And you can also go to those sites and get credible information. So nobody should just come online, say one nonsense, and everybody's getting confused, everybody's getting tired. You must have your way of fact checking those information, and those are the website. UNICEF is also a very good website where you can get information as well. So that is the first principle I want us to give to us this year, because everybody is talking now. So many things on TikTok, so many things because everybody wants to make money from content creation. But please, when it comes to the health of your children, I don't care what people do in content creation around any of that issue. I have no business with that. But when it comes to the health of children dying, I'm really, really important that it is not a content creation issue. One misinformation can kill. So I'll come back to that. Let me just go to the questions I have, and then I will come back to that. So Neil say, please, my baby is 10 months old. Forehead has been warm. Okay, for 3 days. Did you use a thermometer to check the temperature? So when time a baby is warm, get a thermometer. Our hand, they're not reliable. So we need an objective evidence that this child has fever or not. I expect every mother, if your thermometer is no longer working in 2026, buy a new one. Okay, we should hold, there are some things you should have at home as a mother. Maybe I should do that as a real as well. You must always have a digital thermometer. Most of them is, I don't know, for in Nigeria, maybe less than 1,000 naira. Just have it at home. They operate on batteries. Just put it on, and you can put it on the handpiece, you can put it in the tongue, just follow the instruction, and usually within 2 minutes it will beep and it will write exactly what the temperature is, because we need to know whether the child has fever or not. So that is the most important thing. Okay, so Hayel Neil, you need to check the temperature because your baby is not vomiting, baby is not stooling, okay, not slightly not as active, but she's feeding well. So the most important information I need for your baby is to know whether this baby has fever or not, and I need you to do that temperature. So I don't know whether you have a digital thermometer. If you don't have, you can buy one after the program. Just put it in, and then you can tell us. Normal temperature is between 36.5 to 37.5. So if the temperature is above 37.5, then that will be fever. And then there are things you can do to bring down fever. There are very simple things. So number one, you can expose the child. When we say expose the child, it means take off the clothes and just, you can leave the child in diaper or pants or whatever. So that is exposure. You can put the fan on the child. That can also cool off the child. You can also tap a sponge. Tap a sponge means you put like towel, like face towel, in lukewarm water. Lukewarm water is water that when you put your hand in, it's comfortable. It's not cold, it's not hot. It's just like tap water, like when you open your tap. Not on the Alamatandio, not very hostile, because some tap respond to outside temperature, but the regular normal water, then you use that, so where you put it inside it, you squeeze out the water a bit, and then you just damp the baby's body, and the temperature will come down. And of course, you can give paracetamol. Also, every mother should have paracetamol at home. You should always have your paracetamol at home every time, so that in case your child has fever, you can always give paracetamol. So those are the things, those are the ways by which we can reduce fever in children. Okay, all right. So let's go on to the next thing. But that is if your child has temperature, because it has to be 37.5 and above. Judith, please, my 5-year-old daughter woke up vomiting at midnight. She vomited the rice she had 3 times, okay? And the third time there was little blood in it, okay? I also gave her ORS, no fever, but she's still active. Is the blood a cause for concern? Okay. All right, thank you, Judith, for your question. Number one, your child most likely has what we call indigestion. So the child, I don't know what time did the child eat the rice. Sometimes we need to let children eat not too late. They shouldn't just eat before they go to sleep. So we need to give them food early enough so that the food will digest before they will sleep. So, like for example, dinner should not be later than 6-7 p.m. So if for example the child is going to bed by 8 or 9, so they should have had their dinner by 6, so that they will have at least 1 or 2 hours after the meal to run around for the food to start digesting. So the fact that your child vomited at night and was vomiting the rice suggests indigestion, and that's what happened. The blood is not significant concern. Usually it means the vomiting was so forceful. So when vomiting is forceful, it can lead to a break, in the lining of the food part, what we call the esophagus and all that, and then the blood can come out from either, from that bleeding, because there's so much force when the child was vomiting. So we can get that. There's a medical jargon for it, but I won't bother you with the medical jargon. So, but it's just a sign of the fact that this child vomiting was quite serious. Okay, but the good thing with indigestion is that once the child has vomited, sometimes they may also pass water, so they feel better, they feel relieved, they should be fine. So what you did is okay, giving the child ORS, rehydrating the child, but most of the time it should be fine. So I don't expect it to persist. Okay, but in case the child keeps vomiting, and then there may be more to it, and then you may have to take the child to the hospital. But if it's just one vomit, like the child has vomited quite for some episode and the child is now okay, no more vomiting, the child is tolerating well food and all that, then there's really no reason for you to worry. But I think the most important thing is to avoid indigestion. So make sure children don't eat too late in the night, and they should eat early enough so that they have time for the food to digest before they go to bed. Okay. I hope that is helpful, and I don't think there should be a problem. Most of the time, the bleeding won't persist. If it's from that force of the vomiting that causes the bleeding, it surely should stop. Okay, we only worry about blood in the vomit. If the blood keeps coming up, then that means there may be something else, but very unlikely. But the way you describe it is very classical description of indigestion, forceful vomiting with a little bit of blood. Then the child is otherwise now settled. That is just normal classic indigestion. Okay, Hope is saying, what if your child fell hungry? Can you give them food? No. So there's what we call meal times. You are not very specific about the baby. So you need to tell me the age of the child. Okay, so then I will give you the answer. But for this 5-year-old that Judith is asking about, a 5-year-old should not eat later. So the 5-year-old should eat their dinner by 6, 7. That should be it. They should not be eating again at midnight, and they shouldn't be hungry and be eating again. Sometimes we say, okay, you can give them a light snack, so another, but ideally we don't want them eating beyond the normal time. So for the younger children, usually by the time children about 1 to 2, we expect them to sleep all night. So we expect them to have their last dinner around that 6, 7, and that should be fine. But for the infants, they can breastfeed overnight. So the only thing we expect is to feed the infant, because they are still breastfeeding, so they can breastfeed in the night. But otherwise, they shouldn't be taking solid. Even for the infant, we don't expect you to be giving them their complementary feeds at 2 a.m. or 12 midnight. No, they should have their last meal that 6, 7. But for them, they can still take breast milk, they can still take milk, and a little bit of snacks, but nothing more than that. No heavy meals beyond 7 p.m. for everybody. I hope that's helpful. Yeah. So because it's also because of this indigestion, because they won't be able to handle the meal. You need some little bit of movement and running around when you finish eating for you to be able to digest your food. So we don't want children eating so late at night. Okay, so they can have their proper. So I'm sure we'll still do a little bit of teaching on feeding and all that. So children, there are a number of times children should eat, and then the number of meals. But most of those main meals, even if it's 3 or 4 times, they should be during the daytime. They should not be in the middle of the night. Okay, and then we should make sure the only thing they can take a snack or is like they can take a drink like milk or things like that, but nothing like heavy meals at night. Okay, all right, thank you. Oh, saying, how many times can I feed a 7-month-old baby? I know that's going to be the next question, and that is a whole teaching on complementary feeding. So, usually for a 6 to 8-month-old baby, we expect you to give them 2 complementary feeds a day, and the rest should be breast milk. So, a 6 to 8-month-old should have 2 complementary feeds a day. All right, but that's based on the premise that a 6-month or 7-month-old baby, they are still breastfeeding fully the same way you were breastfeeding them before you start complementary feed. They should continue, but then you now give them 2 main complementary feeds and maybe 1 snack for the whole day. So that is what they should eat, and there's a quantity as well. Usually we expect you to give them half a cup, half to 3/4 of a cup for each of the feeds. When we say a cup usually is about 150, so half a cup is about 75 meals, and when we're talking about complementary food, we're not talking about liquid watery pap. We're talking of thick, pap or porridge or mash food, that kind of a thing. So, but if you go through our videos on complementary feeding, you will get all those kind of information. Or if you also go to watch all the if you go to our guide session, we have videos on complementary feeding, and there are videos that tells you how often should you feed your baby, how frequently, what should you feed them, and all that. We normally recommend that people go through that. So hope if you are not on our Facebook group, you can go to our Facebook group, or if you are and go to the guide section, you will get all those information. All right, but I'm sure we're still going to do a teaching on complementary feeding. It's something we do every year. We always do something on breastfeeding. Breastfeeding week is August, but we always teach on breastfeeding. We always teach on complementary feed because that is one of the most common, frequently asked questions to a pediatrician. So, but if you want to quickly get that information, go into our guide session, go to the guide 2, you watch all those videos, you will get all those information. All right. Okay, so I think I've answered all the questions I have. So I'll go back to my tips for this new year again. Please fact check all the information. Okay, so I will quickly address a few that have been sent to me. People say, "Well, somebody was saying don't add milk to your baby's pap and all that." It is not true. You can add milk to your baby's pap. Okay, it does not cause intussusception. It does not cause any of those things. There is no scientific basis for that. We pediatricians, even the dietitians, we have not changed our teaching on that. But just to also let you know that I wonder why mothers get so worried about pap and milk. Pap and milk are not the only food that our children should eat. In fact, some mothers do ask questions as if their baby doesn't take pap, whether there's as if there's a problem, as if, well, why can't my baby take pap? Pap is not written in the constitution. It's not compulsory for your baby to ever take pap. The baby doesn't have to take pap. Pap is just one of the possible meals you can give your baby. There are other sorts of carbohydrates. Okay, you can do your mashed potato, you can do your mashed rice, you can do everything else. So it's not compulsory. Some babies don't take pap, and that's fine. There are many other things you can give your baby. So let's not focus pap and milk. No, there are so many other things children can eat. Okay, so it's not compulsory, and you don't want to give the baby the same food every second. Like some mothers, they will do like a whole, what they call it now, a whole flax, that big flax of pap, so that you can be giving the baby throughout the day. That is not appropriate feeding. If you give your baby variety, not just one thing, pap and milk, or one particular cereal you bought from the store all day. We want your baby to have variety of food. Okay, I got a question from Udrak. Your son will be 1 year tomorrow. Okay, happy birthday in advance. He doesn't eat the normal family food plenty. Okay, you only eat pap. Okay, I guess you're one of the you're one of the people I'm talking to. All right. Okay, so I'm worried as to whether he will eat. Okay. Thank you for your question. You still have time, so your child should be eating all those other food. In fact, by the age of 1, we want the child to be on full family diet. In other words, whatever you eat, whatever you cook for the entire family, that is what the child should be eating from age of 1. Your child should be eating from what we call the household pots, from the family pot. So you cook rice for everybody. Your 1-year-old should eat the rice. You cook porridge or swallow, whatever. That's what the child should be eating from the age of 1. The quantity is what you're worried about, because you said your child eats but not plenty. So the quantity is something you build up gradually. Okay, so but the only way the child will start eating them is by you feeding him. And I think sometimes some of us don't get the quantity right. We don't expect a 1-year-old to eat the same quantity you will eat, or that the older siblings will eat. No. So you may just need to fact check the information about the quantity first. Okay, because some of us, I think we overdose the quantity that we want to give these children. So but you should just encourage them to eat, and the earlier we start doing it, and which is the issue with this pap method. Well, we are so comfortable giving our children the pap because it's so easy, and you can make one for the whole day and then just add a little milk, everybody is happy. No, but if you have been making those conscious efforts to make sure this child is also being given other food as their main food and not like an extra, then they will get used to it. So it's one of the reasons I'm always not a fan of all this pap, because people have a lot of questions about pap around it. It's not the only food the children should be eating. We should start it from day 1. From that 6 months when we start complementary feeding, we should start giving every other thing else. Start giving your amala, your semo with the ewedu. Of course, the texture will be soft and all that. Start giving your mashed potato, your mashed yam, mashed rice. Just start doing everything from the beginning. That way, the child will get used to them, and you can quickly you'll be increasing the quantity, so don't be discouraged. Even if the child is only eating 2 3 spoons, keep giving. The more you do it, the more the child will eat more of it. Then let's make the food colorful. Let's make it let's make it have the right taste. Some of you don't put salt, you don't put anything in those food, and the children will not eat it. I don't know where we learn all those things, that don't put salt, don't put sugar. No, you can't put salt. The same way you will also not like it, food that doesn't have taste. The same way your children will not like it. So cook it the same way you will. Most children don't like too much of pepper, and pepper doesn't have calories anyway. So I'm not really expecting you to overdose the children with pepper and all that. Otherwise, there's really nothing why your children cannot eat the same food that you are eating. So just keep offering it. But the earlier you get the child to eat all those food, the better, so that the child will not be dependent on bottle. That's why some of us struggle to, and some of us also bottle feed our children complimentary food. We give them that pap through bottles. We shouldn't. We should be giving children with cup and spoon from 6 months. That way they get used to all these things. So that is the first thing you need to do. So don't, in fact, you should cut down on the pap and do more of the family meals. And let us eat as a family. Let's eat. When you are eating, let the children be eating at the same time. That way they don't see you feeding them as a punishment. Like, why am I the only one taking this? Why everybody else is not eating here? But when we all eat together, eat from your home plate. You see some children, they won't want to eat their own food, but they want to eat from their mom's plates. So you can give them, the same food you eat. That's the best way to actually introduce them to all this food. Okay. In terms of beverages, you can give your children beverages from the age of 1. And I know beverages, you meant your chocolate beverages and all that. It's okay. But please, again, moderation. Everything is not, we don't want you to giving them beverages. That's what some moms do. Just give children tea. In Nigeria we call it tea, your chocolate, your cocoa drinks and all that. And then they just want to drink it all day. And because there's a lot of sugar in it and all that, and it's not the best for them. They can take it, but it should not be like something they are taking morning, afternoon, and night. Then the children just want, I want tea and biscuit, I want tea and bread. That's what they want to take. We don't want that. So why it's okay for you to start giving them that, but don't overdo it and make it something they have to take all through the day, and then they don't want to eat the real food. Okay, so they shouldn't take it more than once a day. Even it doesn't have to even be every day. The main beverage they still need is their milk. Children always will need milk to the age of 5 because their brain is still growing, their bones are still growing, their teeth are still coming out. So they need a lot of calcium and vitamin D, and most of that you get it from milk. So they still need their milk. They can actually drink milk without the chocolate beverage. So milk and water, those are the most important kind of beverage. Yeah, so they can take any brand you want. We don't promote any particular brand, but the most important thing is that moderation. The main food is still the main food that children should eat, and the most important thing is also variety. Let's mix them, and the fruits and the veggies, those are the snacks they should be taking. Okay, let's not be giving them all these what do you give them now? You know what you always give them, all those things that they sell in the stores. Let's give them fruits as more of the snacks rather than all those other stuff. They can have them, but that should not be the main thing, and you should avoid that. Okay, hope to say, what if you're not giving your baby, if what if you're not giving milk, only breast milk? I'm not sure I understand your question. I'm sure you're asking a follow-up question to your 7-month-old. You don't need, if your 7-month-old complementary feeds, you don't need to give other milk. You can actually give only breast milk. Yes, you are correct. So I don't, if that's your question, I hope I'm getting it correctly. If that's your question, then fine, you can just give breast milk only. You actually don't need to buy formula at all. You can just give breast milk only. Oh, there's a question on Instagram. Diamond Serian, good evening, Doug. Happy New Year. My 2-year-old hasn't started talking well. Okay, he calls daddy and says some letters of the alphabet. How long will it take for him to talk properly? How long? Okay, the question of how long, I can't answer that because every child is different. And I don't know whether your child is just being a little bit slow talking, a slow talker, or the child actually has some speech delay or other developmental issues. So it's difficult to say. but definitely I want a 2-year-old talking. A 2-year-old should be combining words together. So I always give parents rules of the thumb. Rules of the thumb. A 1-year-old should be saying single words. A 2-year-old should be doing 2 words phrases, and the 3-year-old should be doing 3 word sentences. A 4-year-old should be talking like you, like an adult. That is what I expect from a 4-year-old. So if your 2-year-old is only saying single words, the child is slightly behind, but it may just be that the child is slightly behind, the child is catching up. But the best option would be to actually just get a speech therapist to assess the child. So they may give you some tips, playing with the child, how to get the child to talk. We don't force children to talk. We don't force them to talk by asking 1001 questions. We just kind of encourage them through play, through um, giving them the words. If they don't have the words, if they don't know what to say, you tell them the name and all that. But more or less through play, through interaction with the children. But the speech therapist cannot also do sessions with the children. Most speech therapists don't see children until they are 2 and above anyway, because they just want to give them a little bit of time. So, and there are other things that we professionals will assess in a child beyond because parents, I think parents most of the time focus on the speech, the talking. But we pediatricians and speech therapists, we are looking at other things. We are looking at the way the child plays. We are looking at the child interaction with peers. We are looking at so many other what we call non-verbal interactions and all that. If those ones are there and it's just the words, what we call the expressive speech, we are looking at the understanding, receptive speech. So if all those ones are okay and it's just expressive, we know it will come. But if the other ones are also affected, then we know we need to do something about it. So I don't know where you are staying, but if you can have access to a speech therapist, that would be amazing. That's the best thing. All right. Okay. Okomeje, I hope I've answered your question. I hope there's somebody's question on Instagram that I missed. If I missed your questions, my sincere apologies, because Instagram questions just roll off the screen and sometimes I may not have seen it. Please feel free to repost it and I will answer it. Thank you. Udrak, you're welcome. Thank you. Shinaye, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Tricia say I should recommend a dermatologist for your 4-month-old. Okay, Tricia, where do you live? You need to give me idea where you're staying, then before I can recommend a dermatologist. We do run our ATP clinics. We do have a pediatric dermatologist as well. So if you send us a WhatsApp message, I think our WhatsApp number should be showing on the screen. Then we can help you to know if you want to see our own dermatologist, we can recommend that. Otherwise, if you tell me the area, but the best place to get a dermatologist, teaching hospitals in your area will have a dermatologist. Most of them run what we call skin clinics, so you can always see them for skin clinics as well. So I think that's what I will say with that. Okay. I'm assuming you're in Nigeria anyway, because people watch this from all over the world. So that's why I said we need to know where you are. All right. So that service is for those who live in Nigeria. Okay, Chinaye is saying, what could make a 10-year-old to always be playing on his own and laughing loud? He will just play small with his siblings and then go to one corner and start talking to himself, shouting and laughing. Okay, Chinaye, that sounds like a child who may have a developmental condition, but there are many questions I would also like to ask you. Is this child having conversation? Like, is this child able to talk on a normal day? Is this child development appropriate or not? Because it's very unlikely that will be the only thing this child is having. So if this child is does this child have other developmental delay in other areas, speech and all that? This child attending school? Is this child in age appropriate class, or the child struggling? So if this child has those developmental difficulties in addition to this playing on his own and laughing out loud, then I'll be worried about maybe this time you have some form of either learning disability, autism and things like that. The child needs to have a proper developmental assessment. Ideally, that's what I would recommend. I don't know where you stay. I know we don't have a lot of developmental pediatricians in Nigeria, but we do have some pediatric neurologists who do other things. So say brother development is okay. Okay, that's very unusual. Okay, because but then I know you are telling me it's okay from your perspective as a mother. So the question I will ask you next is: has the teachers ever raised any concerns with you? Because that's another thing I need to ask. Okay, are the teachers worried about this child anyway? So if the child's development is otherwise okay, and then um, the child is just playing on his own, laughing on his own, that doesn't sound normal to me. So we definitely need to see this child for a detailed assessment. What may sound or looks normal development to you, you are looking at it from a perspective of a mother, and your own perspective may not necessarily be appropriate for what we expect for a 10-year, it's a 10-year-old, yeah, 10-year-old from a pediatrician's perspective. So we strongly recommend that this child should see, if you can, a developmental pediatrician, if not, a pediatric neurologist, if not, a child psychiatrist. So we call them children and adolescent mental health specialists. Comes psychiatry would be the appropriate. So in that order. So if you can see a developmental pediatrician, that would be the best, or pediatric neurologist, or a psychiatrist. So we can do a proper assessment. Okay, somebody said they can't see the WhatsApp number. Yeah, you won't be able to see it for you on Instagram, but it's always on our, if you go on our profile, you will see everything there. But let me just quickly type it for you. And then just send us WhatsApp message only. And then you will. Okay, Tricia, thank you. So you send it now. All right. Okay, thank you. I'll also type it for you. All right, good. Yeah, we only do clinics. We do, it's a virtual clinic, so it's not something you may not be able to see somebody face to face. So if you want somebody face to face, then that ATP clinic may not be the appropriate one for you. And in some cases, actually, we can do it through the clinic. So it's best to see a dermatologist face to face in their own clinic. Okay. What's her name? Yeah. Chinaya. Okay, I don't know whether Chinaya is still with me, but I really think that child needs a full assessment. It's definitely not typical behavior for a 10-year-old to want to just play on his own, laugh on his own, talk to himself. It's not typical. We tend to see that a lot in children on the autism spectrum, or some children with some developmental disabilities. So I would really recommend that child should have a detailed assessment. All right. Okay. So yeah, I think I've answered Tricia. Don't think I have any question pending, so I'll go back to my tips for the new year. All right, so please, if you get any information on social media, fact check it on WHO website, check it on website from standard organizations that represent professionals who work in that particular field. So somebody's telling you something about food or not, that you can check the dietitians. They have their own website. We pediatricians, we have our own website. You can check UNICEF. You can check NHS website, for example. Most of these standard health organizations, they have lovely websites, and those websites are also for parents and family carers to use. In other words, you can get some of this information on that, so you can always do that. And that is number one. And then there are a lot of videos circulating about vaccine, and people are just saying, oh, you don't need to take vaccine for your children and all that. Please, It's not true. And I know even the US government has not has not helped us, because they've talked about vaccine causing this, paracetamol causing that. Please, even the some of these organizations, AAP and the rest of them, have come out to say that is not true. CDC have come out to say that's not true. So please, give your children immunization. You protect them. This is the reason why there's now things like measles and epidemic. We used to have them in Africa, not in US, not in UK, but now we're beginning to have them because of all this misinformation. That tells you how misinformation can cause a lot of problem, and it's a major challenge we have in health sector now, because unlike all the other misinformation, you can mess up your face with misinformation, then I mean you can deal with it later. You mess up your clothes, you mess up your cars. But when it comes to children, I mean sometimes there's no redo. So we don't want that kind of scenario. So with all sense of responsibility, be careful what information you take and fact check it. Don't take one person telling you anything. Go and fact check it first before you begin to run with it, or begin before you begin to spread it. Okay. Okay, Shina says it's actually my neighbor's child. I asked the mother by second, but she said she has not received any complaint by his teacher. I told her to take him to a teaching hospital. Yes, I think so. I actually find it difficult to believe, it's a little bit tricky because this is not your child. So it's difficult for you to say the child's development is okay when it's not your child. And, because it's a neighbor's child, the mother may not also want to. There's a limit to what people want to tell you, because obviously in Africa, people feel like we are, judging them, or we are how do I call it, like stigmatizing them. So people always want to put in their best face forward. So it's always a little bit tricky. Yes, so I understand perfectly, but how we worry about that child sincerely. And I think you've given the best advice. So the mom should take the child to her. I mean, for it to be obvious to you who is not, I mean, you are just a neighbor, I would recommend the child should be seen by a specialist, and the teaching hospital is appropriate. Yeah. Okay. Diamond say, can I contact ATB for a speech therapist? Actually, we have a speech therapist, yes, who can do virtual assessment. Yes. So yes, you can contact us. Yes, we'll see. Please note that ATP clinic is not free. Consultation is not free. Advice is free, but consultation, professionals are mandated by law to charge you their consultation fees. So just bear that in mind. What we do online, what we do through Ask the Pediatrician Foundation, that is free. But in terms when you are doing one-on-one with a specialist, that is not free. So you may want to be mindful of that. But it's also not ridiculously expensive. It is competitive fees that we charge, but it's not compulsory you come to ATP. Honestly, you can always check with any specialist of your choice. Really, we don't even have the capacity to undo everybody anyway, so that's fine. So please fact check information. Immunizations, they are okay for your children to take. Immunization do not kill children. I've seen videos of people saying immunization kills children. Just like any other drug or any other thing, people can react, and people can react adversely to anything, but that does not mean, I mean, it's just like saying you fly, you're not going to go in a plane because there's plane crash, But do you know what? Air travel is still the safest travel. More people actually die from road accident than from air plane crash. So that's exactly the analogy I will give when it comes to people saying, "Oh, one particular child reacted to vaccine, so I'm not going to give my children vaccine." Children will actually die more from vaccines, preventable diseases, rather than from a reaction to a vaccine. So when we say there's a reaction to vaccine, we're talking about 0.000000006. We are not saying it's completely zero, but maybe 1 in a 1 million children that are immunized may react. And if they actually react right in front of us, we can quickly reverse it. So, but the fact saying that now me, I won't give my children immunization, your child is likely going to die more from diphtheria, pertussis than from the immunization. So, and there's no reason why any child should be paralyzed, unable to walk today because of polio, because we refuse to take polio vaccine. So 2020, and MMR vaccine does not cause autism. I mean, that has been put to, I don't know who went to resurrect that again. It has been put to rest. I know I have a lot of patience because I'm a developmental pediatrician whose parents are worried about MMR causing autism in their children, and they didn't give their children MMR vaccine, and the children still have autism. So I have so many of them. In fact, many of them, sometimes when they ask me, I said, okay, if it's the MMR, obviously, thank God MMR is not, the vaccines are not the worst of the kind of vaccines that can kill children. So fine. Some people will say, okay, I don't want to take the MMR. Okay, take the other ones, the one that can kill. But if you don't take MMR, no problem. Some say I'll wait first. And some of them actually wait not to take MMR because they are worried about all these news that MMR is causing autism. And the children still have autism. So I have a lot of children whose parents did not give MMR vaccine and they still have autism. So we know it is not MMR causing the autism. So there's more of a genetic, there are other issues involving autism. So please do not put your child at risk of dying from measles and other things because you are scared about autism. Most children who have autism, some of them didn't even take MMR vaccine and they still have the autism. So let's not spread those misinformation. Unfortunately, we have no control over social media and all that, but I would just say please take responsibility for your children's health this year. Take responsibility for what you see, from what you hear, and what you act upon. Make sure you double check, you fact check your information. I promise, from ATP perspective, we will always try our best to give you evidence-based information, because for us it is not content creation, it is about saving the lives of our children. And so we don't want any child dying from all these preventable diseases. So, and the way to do that is to make sure that we as parents, we have the right information. Feel free to check our own website as well. Feel free to check our YouTube channel. Feel free to check our podcast. We have taught on almost all these topics, but as we go through this year again, we'll be revisiting them. But what I felt I should address first this year is the fact that this year you're going to have all sorts of misinformation on social media, and it is your responsibility to make sure that you don't fall victim of misinformation. And finally, before I leave, children's condition can change very rapidly. So please let us seek help on time. And actually, for those of us who are ATPians, and you rely so much on ATP, remember that it's a social media platform. It's for health education. I cannot set a line on a child on social media. I cannot take blood sample from your child. I cannot treat that child on social media. We can give advice, but there are certain things we cannot do online. So what am I saying? If a child is sick, please take them to the hospital. I know our hospitals, we still have a long way to go, but the earlier you come to us, the better. So don't waste too much time. Many of us like to say, okay, let me just be watching. I know the finance is part of it. I know, I understand, but please, it's better to, if you don't have the finance, go to government hospital. At least most of our government hospital, the doctor will see the child first. At least we will now know whether it's something serious or whether it's not, before we now start talking whether you need to pay for these drugs or that drug. I think we would have seen the child first. So please, for sick children, let's take them to the hospital. Okay. I don't want you to be watching a child more than 1 hour, I mean 1 day. The child have fever, paracetamol 24 hours. After 24 hours, the child is not better. Please let us go to the hospital. And there are some emergencies, okay? Anything that make the child unconscious, any major accidents, the child is convulsing, the child is bleeding, the child has taken wrong drug or wrong maybe products into their mouth and swallowed it, you must take them to the hospital. Those are what we call emergencies. You will have very short period to intervene, and a second can make a difference between life and death. So those are emergencies. Somebody is unconscious, somebody is convulsing, somebody is not breathing well. I see people send me videos of children who are practically fighting for their life. Like you can see they're struggling to breathe. Those children should be in the hospital. So sometimes I'm like, I hope you're in the hospital right now. So there are some cases you don't even have time to be sending to ATP online. I've gone to work all morning, so before I will come to online, maybe evening. So you have to take the children to the hospital so that our doctors can attend to them on time. So when you're taking children to hospital, please take them to hospital, preferably that has a pediatrician. So start minimum general hospitals, minimum teaching hospitals, minimum very good private hospitals, children hospitals, because some of I see a lot of our health centers, some of them do more than what they are supposed to do. They are not supposed to be doing some things, but they do it because they felt like, okay, since you have come, let's just do something. And sometimes they waste time and they're not doing the right thing. So because most of the time there's no a doctor there or no pediatrician, so we don't expect them to be there anyway. So please take your children to hospitals, most likely that's a pediatrician, so that the children can be seen promptly and can be treated promptly. So that's my last piece of advice for 2025. I'll still be posting them on our social media just to remind you. All right, so first take responsibility for the information you hear. Make sure you fact check everything. You can ask us as well, even though I don't like people disturbing us with sort of misinformation, but feel free to ask. And please make sure you you take very sick children to the hospital on time, and make sure they are seeing pediatricians. The few of us that are still here, so make sure they see pediatricians, and we do whatever they ask us to do. So thank you so much, everyone, for those of you who have asked questions, who have joined me today. So this is the pattern I'm going to follow in 2026. Every Monday, 6 to 7 p.m. Nigerian time, I will do a little bit of teaching and I will answer your questions as well. And if you have topics that you think, oh, Dr. Wemi, I want to talk about this, just send me either a DM or a WhatsApp message, or post it on our Facebook group to say, can you talk about this topic, and we will try and address them. And for those of you who have children with additional needs, you can check with Super Parents Foundation. We have special arrangement for you this year as well. All right, so thank you so much. And if you still have any questions, our Facebook groups are open from Mondays to Saturdays. You can post your questions there. Remember, it's an health education information platform. It's not an hospital. So stop saying, why are you not treating the child? People ask me that question all year round. We don't treat children on Facebook. If we can give you advice, we can tell you need to go to the hospital, but some of you still get upset with that. But that is the best advice we can give at that time. So, but if your children are sick, please take them to the hospital. But feel free to post your question. We answer all questions, and there is no stupid question. I know a lot of mothers get upset with some questions some people ask, and I'm like, they are not asking you, they are asking the pediatricians. And when you ask the pediatricians, every question is legit, every question is acceptable. It's a question I'd rather you ask and I answer rather than you don't ask and then we come and blame you later on for not asking. So feel free to ask any questions. Don't get upset with people who tend to want to jump into the comment section and say no. So that's why we normally close our comment section, because we don't want people saying nonsense on our post. Feel free to ask a question and we'll try our best to answer them. Good evening. My immunization schedule is tomorrow. Whose immunization? Is it you or your baby? Okay, I guess your baby for 1 year. Okay, for 1 year old in Nigeria, there's actually no immunization at 1 year. We don't give any immunization at 1 year. The next vaccine will be at 15 months. So if you've taken the vaccine at 9 months, for Nigeria, the next immunization will be at 15 months. Some hospitals give you appointment for the 12 months, either for vitamin A and for weight check and all that. So the fact that you have an appointment does not necessarily mean, especially if you are following the national program, you are following the Nigerian national program on immunization. I know some private hospitals don't follow the NPI, they don't follow the national program, they have their own schedule. So let me not confuse you, but if you are following the Nigerian, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency immunization schedule, that's the national approved schedule. If you're following that, there is no immunization at 12 months. The only thing we give you at 12 months is vitamin A, which strictly speaking is not immunization. So I just show you a schedule for Nigeria immunization. I know it's very you may not see it very well. So it's a little bit but that's the routine immunization. And if you look at 12 months, um I'm not sure whether there's 12 months. You can see 12 months there. So there's nothing for 12 months apart from vitamin A. 15 months is when we will give you the um, measles too. You know, that's what we give at 15 months. And but we can give vitamin A at 12 months. So vitamin A for us is not immunization, it's oral drug. We just drop it in the mouth and you don't need to carry paracetamol along. But another thing to check is your immunization card. So you have an immunization card, and in that immunization card, they would have written your next immunization there. So if you are using the EdCent, if you are using the what's it called? If you're using private hospital, check what is written on your card for tomorrow. So, but if you are doing the Nigerian one, the only thing that will be there is vitamin A and not any other vaccine. But don't forget, at 15 months, that is when your child will need measles too. And then at 9 years, we'll give you UMA. 9 years, we can give UMA papilloma virus vaccine. Those are the schedule we have right now. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any question, post it on Facebook group. Monday to Saturdays, we'll answer them. And I will see you same time next week, 6 p.m. Nigerian time on Facebook, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. And feel free to always share and invite your friends to our live videos. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And it is a bye from me. Bye bye.